The Oxford English Dictionary defines the word cryptid as an animal whose existence or survival is disputed or unsubstantiated, such as the yeti. For the following witnesses to living cryptids, there is no dispute. In this series of National Cryptid Society case files, you will hear what the witnesses have experienced in their own words. Keep an open mind when listening to these accounts, and also remember one's perception and memory of an event can be influenced by the emotions felt at the time of the occurrence. The contributors to this series are doing the best they can to recount what are in some cases very shocking and traumatic experiences.
My dad and I were feeding pigs one afternoon when we heard something coming through the woods. Our pig fence was around 3 foot high. As we looked up, we saw a very big dog, the biggest dog I've ever seen. He got on 2 legs and grabbed one of our pigs and pulled him over our fence. He did it so fast we didn't have a chance to get the gun from our truck. We had been missing some pigs, and at the time I didn't know what a dogman was. But now looking at a picture of the dogman, I'm sure that's what it was. Now 2 years before this happened, I had seen a Bigfoot on our property, which I never told my dad because he had told me not to ride my motorcycle down a certain pathway. Our land was in front of Lynn Lake before it was made into a park. The lake was separated into parts at the time. We had around 30 acres with trails, and I always felt like I was being watched. At one point, we were cooking 2 pigs, and I was watching over them around 9 o'clock at night. I heard a scream like I never heard before. I was 10 years old. We could cook our pigs at the barn about 80 or 90 feet from the house. I took off running. When my dad and I came back out to the barn, one of the pigs was gone. I don't know if it was Bigfoot or Dogman, but it was something I won't ever forget. 3 years ago, I walked on my front porch as I do every morning. I don't remember the exact time, but it was between 8:30 and 10 a.m. I live out in a rural green belt. Everyone is separated by acreage and woods. Across from me, due south, are 3 ponds with a few houses. Looking to the east was a large field that had 2 fences running down the middle, which separated it into 3 lots, each of which were for sale. The middle lot consisted of 10 acres, and it had a house being built on it, but it was still empty. This was Sunday, so there was no one working that day. The fence that ran down the east side of it was a plain 4-foot wire fence with metal rods. I saw movement coming down the fence line, and when I turned to look at it, my first thought was someone's cow was out. It was white, but as I watched it walk, I realized it wasn't a cow. It had a large white mane like a lion, but unlike a lion, the mane didn't stop at the shoulders. It shortened but stayed uniformed to the body, giving it a shaggy look. So I thought, wow, that's a big dog. It walked about 18 feet down the fence very oddly, slow and lumbering, and then it stopped. It never turned its head, it just looked straight across the road at another house with 2 ponds behind it. So using the fence for measuring, the back was even with the fence at 4 foot. The length was pole to pole, which I'm guessing was 6 to 8 feet. I don't know the spacing of the poles. I never saw a tail. Not saying that it didn't have a tail, I just didn't see one. The top of the mane was over the fence, so closer to 5 feet. I couldn't make out the face at a distance from about 150 yards. It stood there almost a minute, and then slowly turned its head to the right. And that was also odd by the way it turned, almost like a cat but slow. Then it walked back up the fence line and was gone. 3 to 4 days later, and this is now at 11 o'clock p.m., I walk out my front porch to sit down. Within about 5 minutes, I look over and see a large white form coming down the fence line again, only it was running, or moving a lot faster, and it kept going. I figured it crossed and went over to the ponds. Around August of 2017, I was in my backyard with my camera. My dog was chasing squirrels, and I was taking pictures of him. He was behind a tree when I was waiting on him to come out. Looking into the camera, I noticed something move in the upper right-hand part of the screen. My dog had come out and was now heading in that direction. So I look up and see this dog lion stalking my dog from the bushes. I stop and call my dog and went quickly into the house. I ran into the kitchen and looked out the window, and it was gone. I still don't know what that was, but knowing it's out there is terrifying. I was walking my dog in the water vole-infested Sanders Park. I remember that day very vividly. It was raining fairly lightly and nobody else was around, as it was quite late, maybe around 7:20, 7:30 p.m. My dog ran off to a small woodland area off to the east of the park when I heard a small yelp from a different dog to the west of the park. I turned 180 degrees very rapidly, with a speed the human eye may consider unreal. My piercing eyes glanced more piercing eyes from the west forest from which the yelp came from. I felt a shiver of isolation run through my brain, similar to the pins and needles feeling when you sit on your foot too long. Then, after hearing a large sound and falling to the ground in pain, I awoke to my dog licking my face at 11:11 p.m. I don't think I'll be able to shake the fears of that dreaded night. The thing that lurked among the bushes was a good 2 feet in height above me, and I am 6 feet. Its eyes were blinding, almost like having a red laser pin shone into your eyes. It was almost like we were in fear of one another. The creature was about 13 meters away from me. I didn't feel the need for any medical attention, and it hasn't left any after effects on me in terms of feeling sick or nauseous. No marks were left on me either. While patrolling the Yorktown refinery on numerous occasions, I spotted a strange creature about the size of large beaver. It's covered completely with long, matted brown hair to the point no legs are visible. It's about 1.5 feet in height and 3.5 feet long. It is very fast and has 2 tails at the rear that are also covered in hair. It has no visible facial features that can be seen under its long hair. I have observed the creature crossing the road, running very fast, entering the river next to the refinery, and on occasion a series of what appears to be holes dug deep into the ground. Other workers have called me to report this creature, most saying they have never seen anything like this. Unfortunately, I was never able to catch it on camera due to its incredible speed. I've seen this creature both night and day. Over the approximately 8 times I saw the creature over the 5 years I was a patrol officer, it was during the warm spring and summer months I remember seeing it. When it ran, it had a quick side-to-side wobble to it, almost like when a dog shakes its fur when it gets wet. I assume it ran on 4 very short legs, even though you could not see any. Its heavy shaggy fur dragged across the ground as it ran. The refinery was a Homeland Security site due to the fact that we had a port. Being part of the security force, the site employees were told to report anything out of the ordinary. Most of the calls I received about this creature weren't on a personal level. I'll explain. Part of my responsibilities was the physical safety of the employees, so I regularly stopped by the control center and units. The conversation usually went, I was down by the dock and all of a sudden this hairy thing ran by me, and for the life of me, I don't have a clue what it was. I estimate around 6 people told me a story similar to that one. One of my fellow security officers also saw the creature twice. It's been almost 5 years since I worked at the refinery, which has changed company since then. My thoughts about this creature is that more than likely it was some mutated animal. The refinery has been in operation for a very long time. It's also a nature preserve with many different animals ranging from deer to coyotes. With all the chemicals produced there, God knows how much of those made it into the environment. I knew every inch of the refinery, every animal that lived there, and was trained to observe my surroundings, take notice and respond to any situation, so when I saw the creature, it stood out.
If you have had an encounter with a cryptid animal, strange creature, or what you can only describe as a monster, consider submitting a report to us at www.nationalcryptidsociety.org/contact. The National Cryptid Society is self-funded, and the costs of operation are offset by the sale of our unique designs on Amazon and other platforms, but mostly Amazon. You can search National Cryptid Society on Amazon to see what we offer, and a link to our brand is in the description of this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. We would like to thank the following friends of the National Cryptid Society, including our partner page, Obscure Monsters, Bigfoot the Truth Told, Restricted Access, author Denver Michaels, Mattsquatch Presents, the Singular Fortean Society, and Andy McGrath's Beasts of Britain. Like, follow, and subscribe to these folks, and you'll have the most up-to-date news and reports from the realm of cryptozoology and the paranormal.